In honor of who should still be closing baseball games for your playoff Cleveland Guardians, Emmanuel Clase. Welcome into the 48th episode of Cleveland Sports Realm. I am Kevin, joined alongside my good friend and co-host Jerome behind the camera, and running the operations there is producer Eric. As always, we are recording Wednesday evening. I believe today it's the 1st of October as we record, so it's spooky season. Jerome, how are we feeling this Wednesday evening?
Well, we were going to feel real crappy, and then the Guardians, out of nowhere, came out and had a wonderful 8th inning, and they are now tied against the wild card, so we're feeling pretty damn good up in here.
Yeah, we are, and I will say, I'll preface this, coming off that game on Tuesday, I was pretty low coming off that loss. You know, it was a game we lost 2-1, and looking back, I'm trying to think of past Cleveland playoff games, you know, with the Cavs, Guardians/Indians, and the Browns, and I was pretty deflated after game one, after Tuesday. You know, it was one of those games where obviously we scored a run on a big hustle play from Angel Martinez, and the other two runs that the Tigers scored that ended up beating us were unearned. So I just looked at that game as kind of a must-win. You know, you kept yourself in that game. Gavin Williams pitched a masterclass. Tarek Skubal, of course, was excellent. But when you go into those games and you basically beat yourself because we had one earned run and the Tigers had none, you know, it's one of those frustrating losses that I felt very, should I say, unmotivated or just not confident in this game two that we saw today. But I couldn't be happier that we're now sitting even and we've got a chance going into Thursday.
So what we're looking at here is if they do this, it'll be the first team to ever, since they introduced the 3-team wild card. If they do win tomorrow, it'll be the first team to ever come back and win that after being down 1-0. And I got to tell you, Kevin, I wasn't that deflated after yesterday's loss. Yes, the way the 9th inning transpired pissed me off. Yes, I'm right there with you. But you're going against the best pitcher on the planet. The last time that you beat him, it was all a bunch of hogwash and horse shit that's probably not going to happen again. You know, 50 feet choppers, Tarek long snapping the ball into right field. They haven't hit the guy, and they still can't hit the guy, and probably won't ever hit the guy. And so I wasn't that pissed off about them not hitting Tarek. And quite honestly, the way they got a run off Tarek was more hogwash and horse shit. Arias hit a giant-ass bouncer off the plate, and Angel just busted ass on an infield single to get home. They called him out, and they called him safe. And so they put like 2 balls in the outfield all day. So, like, them losing that game did piss me off, of course, but what got me more was the 9th inning and the manager making a decision that I didn't agree with. And that was, you got a kid in George Valera, 60 major league at bat, not even. I think, 50, 60 major league at bats. You pinch hit him, and you know the kind of, you know what he is. Long swing, power bat. George comes up there and tries to plant the ball on East 9th Street, and it didn't work out. Why didn't you go to a guy like Daniel Schneemann? And that was where I was pissed off.
Yeah, and we talked about that a little bit, actually, right after the game. You and I had a conversation about that later that night, and Schneemann would have been the guy that I would have looked at, too, just because he is one of those guys that makes contact with the baseball, and that's what this team has taken pride in all season, is just not really, they try to avoid the swings and misses. They're not going to hit the ball out of the ballpark too much, but as long as you make contact and put the ball in play, some things are going to happen, and Schneemann's one of those players that's done that for this team, and you're number 2 now with the team doing that, so that would have been a guy that I would have looked at as well. I was more frustrated, and I know we might get into a little bit of a tangent here, but I was a little bit more frustrated with the Angel Martinez pinch hit. I know you and I disagreed on that, and we'll get into the reasons behind it, but I just felt like that was a guy, I know the base hit that he got off of him was a weak chopper. I get it. But he had the hustle play. He was the sole reason you had one run on the board at that point, and he plays a decent defensive outfield. I didn't understand the pinch hit for him, especially when that's a guy later in the game. If you're hoping that goes to extras, that's another guy that you can have on the base pass. Maybe he gets a better matchup in the game. I just didn't understand that pinch hit for Martinez there. And I get that they pinch hit Bo Naylor for him, and Bo Naylor's been hot. I get it. But I think I would have pinch hit Naylor in a different spot there.
I completely disagree with that. But to your point about Schneemann, I went into work today, and first thing, one of my coworkers, well, they should have pinch hit Schneemann. I said the same thing yesterday. Then I had to make a stop at another building in the city, where I work. I had to make a stop somewhere else. First thing we start talking about the game. I'm wearing this hoodie. He goes, I can't believe they went Valera there over Schneemann. That was an opinion that almost everybody had.
Yeah.
And I think if Vogt could do it over again, he would have won Schneemann. But you can't, and we lost the game. Now, your point about Angel Martinez, let me counter it with a little bit of, what I think is why you're completely and utterly wrong. Because Angel Martinez is a switch hitter. Angel Martinez shouldn't be a switch hitter. Angel Martinez hits 250 from the right-hand side of the plate against lefties. Angel Martinez is hitting 190 against right-handed hitters and can't hit from the left side point blank. So I want someone who could actually hit from that side of the plate. Angel had done his due diligence. He did a good job in that game. Like we said, he hit a little 50-foot squibber, beat it out. Good job. He busted ass on an Arias chopper to get home. God bless you. I appreciate you busting ass. You ran hard 90 around third to get there. Good send by Rugi Odor. The whole 9 yards. At that point in the game, though, they needed instant offense. I think if Angel Martinez bats there, it ultimately ends up in a strikeout. And I know Bo didn't hit the ball, but Bo at least made contact, hit the ball to first. It didn't work out. It is what it is. I just think to expect Angel Martinez to continue in the game there, I would have been more pissed if they didn't pinch hit, to be quite, and I'm glad they did.
Okay, and that's also fair, the fact that he could have easily potentially struck out, or he could have been an out himself, and I get that. And I would just counter that with, the big splash plays that we had last postseason, or the big splash at-bats, I should say, John Kenzie Noel and David Fry, Game 3 of the ALCS. Like, the reason, they were notorious for hitting left-handed pitching, and they hit both of those bombs off of right-handers. Like, I just feel like you ride with your gut. My gut instinct in that, I was just feeling the game out. I think sometimes you have to put all that analytical, look at the number stuff aside and really feel the game out. That's my general opinion.
Yeah, and I agree with you, and I think that's something that I want to hit on in a little bit here, is you watch this year's postseason, which we've both been glued to the last 2 days. Of
course.
Commence here and begin for another wonderful round of playoff baseball. It's not a vote thing. It is a league-wide issue. You're seeing managers flip their lineups entirely. I look at the New York Yankees, who are supposed to be like the model franchise, whatever, although it has been a while since they've won anything of substance. Either way, people still look at the Yankees like the Yankees. You know what I mean? Yeah. They put 5 new hitters in there today.
Yeah.
Boone flipped his lineup entirely. So this isn't a vote thing. This is a epidemic. I'm going to call it that. That's gone across baseball. You look at...
we saw A.J. Hinch today pinch hit for arguably his best hitter in Riley Green.
Yeah.
I don't understand that. Just because you want the righty on left, I don't understand it, man. Just let your best players... And we've talked about this ad nauseum throughout this year, because you and I have been advocating for more lefty at-bats for Daniel Schneemann, who we brought up earlier, and then finally Vogt over the last few weeks to maybe even a month and a half of the regular season was really letting Manzardo look at the lefties and wasn't even thinking about subbing him out. He finally came around to it, something that you and I had been advocating for since probably May.
Well, the weird thing about that one was at the beginning of the year, they let Manzardo hit lefties in April.
And he's never had a major issue doing it at all.
And then May through August, they locked him in a cage against left-handers.
Yeah. And
then back in September, they realized, well, shit, we probably have 3-4 hitters in this lineup. We got to let one of them face everybody.
Yeah.
And
I think you might have seen a pinch hit if David Fry was still able to play right now. You may have seen Manzardo get pinch hit for when a lefty came in to face him. But again, even at that point, that's one that I would have disagreed with, because I think there's so many other players in this lineup that you could make that pinch hit for.
Yeah, absolutely. And like we said, it's these managers, it's just that the analytics side is taking too much over, instead of, the skipper running the ball club now. I think Microsoft Teams and Google, spreadsheets are running the ball club.
Oh, they 100% are.
And that's the problem. Now, on the flip side of that today, I like the lineup the vote ran out there. I did.
Yeah, I did. I did for the most. I genuinely, honestly, I didn't really have a problem with it. There would have been one tweak I would have made, but it wouldn't have been anything too crazy. I just want a more solidified, true center fielder in that lineup. I loved, and we'll talk about Chase DeLauder in a little bit, I'm sure, but I loved that DeLauder finally got his chance. It was kind of weird that obviously his debut came
in a postseason
game, and honestly, he played a good game. I know he had the error that led off the game, but he really came into his own after that. I saw Bybee in the dugout was giving him some a confidence boost, and Chase DeLauder seemed to kind of laugh it off and everything. If that ends in a run or two, they're probably not laughing about it. But
that's
luckily,
exactly what Todd Frazier said on the television.
But luckily,
oh yeah.
And I had to listen to Tom because I was working today, so I didn't hear it on the television broadcast. But that's funny he brought that up. But, I'm glad he got his opportunity, but you can tell he's definitely more of a true corner outfielder, specifically in right field. But he made a couple decent plays out there. Some he made harder than they needed to be.
Yes.
But when it comes to the lineup construction, and I know Valera led the game off in his first at-bat, second at-bat of the game for the Guardians. He had let it off with a solo shot. But I want more of, maybe even Daniel Schneemann put him in center fielder and Angel Martinez, just so that you know that you don't have a major issue defensively in center field.
Well, I think you got to get the bats in there. And, look, I know I'm kind of contradicting myself because we just gassed up Daniel Schneemann and want him in there with the game on the line yesterday. Because Daniel Schneemann, on this team, it's a young ball club. It's weird to say because of how many rookies they're playing. Daniel Schneemann's almost like a veteran on this ball club, even though he only made his debut in May of last year.
Yeah, it's been under a year and a half. Which we were at his debut, you and I.
Yeah, we were at his debut. He actually had an RBI double in the first.
In his first at bat, first pitch he ever saw. Yeah, you're right.
But that's a little aside that probably nobody listening cares about besides me and you. But it was fun.
It was a good time.
And anywho, my point is the thing is this team hit 225 during the regular season, so a Daniel Schneemann hitting 210 is probably one of the higher guys.
Yeah, he is.
But at the same time, I think right now, even though you don't trust his defense, you got to have George in there because he's just a threat to hit the thing out of the ballpark. In 60-some plate appearances, he's got, 3 home runs already? And, I mean, the one today was no cheapie, and that wind was blowing straight in.
What was that, 410, I think I saw?
Yeah, he smoked the crap out of the ball. And so I think right now, what I would do is, I think you got to start Valera and you got to start DeLauder because they're better bats. And it's crazy to say that DeLauder's played one major league game. When you think about this entire thing and you look at it from a bird's eye view, how's this team here? How are they doing this? And how do they win an elimination game today? They had a guy, their top prospect, make his debut in a game where he was either going to play his first major league game, and that could be his last until next March, or he's going to keep playing. I mean, the whole thing is just, it's bonkers what's going on down there.
It's crazy. And I know we haven't really seen Quan. I'm going to pivot here to this point here. I know we haven't seen Quan really play center field almost at all for this team, but is that something that you would almost consider? I mean, they're pulling out all the stops right now. I mean, is that something that you would consider to do and put Valera and DeLauder in the corners and make sure that your best defensive outfielder is playing center field? I would almost consider doing that right now, man. I mean, what do you have to lose right now? I mean, obviously you can lose the wild card, but what? I mean, they've tried just about everything else.
I don't think
I would think about doing that.
Quan's been in the major leagues for 3. This will be his 4th full season. He's won 3 Gold Gloves out there. He's solidified himself as probably maybe one of if not the best defensive left fielder in the game. He didn't really play much center in the minors growing up, coming up through this organization. So I just think it's more of Quan, you set him and forget him and left, and that's just the way it's going to be. Center and right could be a rotational piece.
I get that, and I know, just with DeLauder making his rookie debut today, or just his MLB debut in general today, excuse me, I don't know if I want him calling the outfield right now. Especially that early error he had. He had that one that he tracked down to the wall. That looked a little bit harder than it had to be. I would just rather have a more proven.
The problem is and they can't hit to begin with. We know that. But Stephen Vogt said it today when Todd Frazier had mentioned this on the telecast today on ESPN. The Todd father, many of our listening audience probably remembers his playing days, And he had said this to Vogt. He said, Voter, who is your best defensive outfield? And Vogt's like, with our roster right now, it's obviously Stephen Kwan, and then it's Petey Halpin, and it's Daniel Schneemann. The problem is, I want DeLauder and Valera to hit, and we don't know about their defense.
Well, and we want Manzardo to hit, so that rules out the DH because you need Kafis at first.
Because, and people are going to say, oh, God, here he goes again with that guy. The problem is when you got rid of Carlos Santana, you got rid of probably your second best defender on the team. And the guy's a vacuum. He's a shot vac at first base. Kyle Manzardo should probably now I after watching him play first base this year, I completely understand why they brought up a young kid and instantly decided he was a DH. Guy can't play first base.
No, and if you remember last year, we talked a lot about. I wish they would just throw Manzardo out at first, like 3 days a week, just get experience there. I mean, we found out this year why they were not doing that last year.
Yeah, and John Kenzie's not a terrible first baseman. I mean, even like yesterday, and Voter pointed this out after the game, like people are ridiculing him for that error. Like, look, on that play, he makes the diving stop. Then he has to backpedal at 100 miles an hour. And we all know he's a huge guy. His nickname's Big Christmas for Pete's sake. And he's got to backpedal, get back to the bag, and then keep a foot on it. That is a really tough play. So, like, people like, oh, well, John Kenzie Noel made a costly error yesterday. Yeah, if you want to say John Kenzie Noel was useless in the batter's box yesterday, by all means, I could have gone up there and did what he did. He stood up there, swung at 3 pitches that were
outside of the zone.
That were on Ontario Street, 3 different every time he went up there. So, yeah, I'll give you that. John Kenzie Noel, I know his error was costly yesterday, but I think that's still a tougher play to make than people realize. With all this being said,
but it's when you practice.
Kafis has got to play first base every day the rest of the playoffs because
I agree.
He's the only one I trust over there with the glove consistently. And until proven otherwise, CJ Kafis has got to play first base.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you on those takes. And Jonathan Rodriguez's error was like significantly worse.
No, it was
than
horrible.
John Kenzie Noel. It was. I mean, it led off the game that way.
It was horrible. It was the third batter of the game, and Gavin. At that point, Gavin, you're sitting there. I was fortunate enough to go to the game yesterday. Shout out to friend of the show, Kyle Ernie. He took care of me. I got to sit in a suite yesterday. It was wonderful. All that great. Thank you,
loyal listener.
Thank you, Kyle. Appreciate it. But with all that being said, you're sitting there and the crowd's all looking at each other like, holy crap, Gavin Williams might have like a 5-pitch inning. He got the first 2 batters out on the first 2 pitches of the game, and then that fat slob in right field didn't field his position. And here you go. Kerry Carpenter's on second. Torque hits a bloop. We're down 1-0 after It looked like you're going to have. And that's what the thing with Jonathan Rodriguez. And he hasn't been up here that much, but the last couple of years he's been up and down. The guy's always looked like a crappy defender and right. And I
No, John Kenzie Noel's actually been a significantly better right fielder fielding-wise than Rodriguez has ever been for us.
And I know people are like, well, Big Christmas isn't giving you off anything offensively, and that's 100% true. He did hit a home run randomly on Sunday, but what I want our listening audience to understand, guys, they know that Big Christmas sucks the plate right now, but they also know that their offense sucks so bad as a whole. They are just sitting there putting him in the lineup, damn well knowing he's striking out 2-3 times a game. Just
but
hoping
there's that chance.
That one time that he pops it up because he's so damn strong. If he pops it up, there's a chance it could be a wall scraper. I see people, I can't believe Stephen Vogt's trying to run this guy out there again. Stephen Vogt knows when he writes his name in the lineup card that he's getting, when the Stephen Vogt looks at the box score after the post game, he's seeing at minimum 2 Ks next to his name.
I would even say you could probably argue 3.
Yeah, you could be right on that. Vogt knows what he's doing with that, but at the same time, guys, they're gambling. They're gambling. They don't know what's going on. But let's talk about when the gamble paid off today in the 8th inning. Brian Rocchio.
Oh,
I mean,
phenomenal.
You're talking.
I mean, we're talking playoff Rocchio. I mean, this guy, when it gets to October, these last 2 postseasons, has just become a completely different player. And he's had a pretty good last couple months too. But it is just like when he gets to October, man, it's playoff Rocchio. It's Rocktober. Well, it's awesome.
And this is where I could honestly say, like, when the national guys come in to do your playoff games, they haven't watched you all the way. And what happens is, and a lot of times the viewers get upset with them because you, the viewer, knows the team 10 million times better than they do. Mm-hmm. Also, it's not their job. They are national broadcasters. They are not Matt Underwood, Rick Manning, and Andre Knott. Sorry. Correct. Okay, so when the Sean McDonough, who I actually love when he calls football games, and he actually sounded pretty good on baseball today, had made a point of, well, Rocchio only hit 233 during the regular season. No, Sean McDonough. Rocchio was hitting 180, had to make a return trip down 71 to Columbus, came back and was a different player. We talked about that episodes ago, right?
Yeah, we did.
Brian Rocchio was 2 different players in the first half and second half. They brought him back. They knew they needed a second baseman. He has been great in that spot. Now, he didn't have a hit yet this postseason. I'm not criticizing for him. Like, almost all their guys, they had mentioned going into the inning where Rocchio hit a home run, and this is how disgusting it got. The Guardians had played what? That was going into the 8th inning, so you take 9 They had played 16 innings of baseball and had, this is counting outs, had hit 9 balls into the outfield.
Oh, that's preposterous.
And they had mentioned that on the broadcast, and you're like, oh my God.
I didn't hear that stat. Tom didn't tell me that one.
Yeah, well, I'm not surprised because, Cleveland play-by-play, man, like the National, they're going to give that to you. They'll show you how bad it is. Okay. So they had hit 9 balls into the outfield. But you're not really criticizing Rocchio, and you're like, well, here's a guy who, he has had that moment. And he had many of them last postseason. So he gets into an 0-2 count, and on the broadcast, they're starting to hammer the point of the shadows. And to be honest with you, like, it was a legit thing because it was becoming tough as a television viewer of seeing things with the shadows being so bad. And so you're sitting there watching it, and you're like, Rocchio's in an 0-2. This guy throws 100 miles an hour. To be honest with you, my gut's thinking swing and a miss. He turns around that 100-mile-an-hour fastball, and you never know, especially in playoff baseball, when one thing like that can just change the entire complexion of the series. And I think that's what it did.
Yeah, I think you could definitely make that argument. And I actually wanted to touch on, we've heard a lot of these MLB playoff teams, or I should say the fan bases, I've seen on social media been talking about, this cheap-ass Guardians team who they only hit ground balls and base hits. They don't hit home runs or whatever. Tom Hamilton, I was listening to him on Tuesday. He goes, I actually get a little bit offended when they refer to this as guards ball. When you're butting people over, when you're getting base hits, when you're hustling out little grounders. He goes, they've been playing the sport of baseball like this for over 100 years. And he's right.
Yeah.
They have been. He goes, it wasn't until they introduced the launch angle and the exit velo that everybody started getting so analytical with these things to now we're trying to hit home runs all the time. So I thought it was just such a poetic justice today. Again, we're recording Wednesday evening. I just thought it was such poetic justice that George Valera, solo shot. Brian Rocchio, solo shot. Bo Naylor, 3-run shot. 5 out of your 6 runs, we're playing that big boy ball that everybody wants you to play. So they're telling you, hey, yeah, we're going to hustle out some grounders. We're going to hit some choppy things. We're going to bunt some players over, and we're going to make those hustle plays. But also, we're going to hit the ball out of the park when we need to.
Well, and that's 100% right. And to further your point, they had 6 hits today, and 5 of them went for extra bases. And the other 2 were a Quan double, the Schneemann RBI double right after that, and then Kafis had a single. So they played big boy ball today.
They totally did.
And the thing is, to your point, guards ball is fun. And it's fun when they
start stringing those hits together. It is a blast.
When they string hits together, or yesterday when they hit a exit velocity, your point, probably 49-mile-an-hour chopper off the plate, and Angel Martinez is going faster, making a left turn around third base than Joey Logano does around the NASCAR track, making another left turn. and they're getting a run off of that. But we've witnessed this team in the past, Kevin, and the point being, you can't do that in the postseason and expect to go deep. So the fact that they showed today off a pretty damn good Detroit bullpen, I mean, listen, they're not as good as our bullpen, but they're still pretty damn good. That you can play the big boy ball, that's how you win in the postseason. We've talked about this time and time again.
Because the pitching is so good for every team that you're not going to string together 5 hits in a row.
Yes, it's so hard. And we've talked about this a million times over. Why do we play the new? Well, I know why, but every time in the postseason we play the New York Yankees every year,
and we lose.
Every year because what do? They're the Bronx Bombers. They hit the damn ball over the fence. What do we do? Single, double, air, hey, oh, you know.
Yeah, for every
they don't work like that.
For every
anymore.
3 hits we have, we're stranding 3 runners, and for every hit they have, it seems like it's a run.
Right.
That's genuinely how it feels when we face the Yankees.
And you have to be able to hit the ball out of the ballpark. Prime example, look at our opponent today. The Motor City Kitties. Okay. 1 for 15 with runners in scoring position. They had guys on third base with no outs multiple times today.
Oh, yeah.
Couldn't get it done.
Dude, in the 7th inning, I texted you. They had runners on the corners, no outs, and I texted you, that's the ball game. I was so deflated.
Because and the Tigers, to their, they do hit the ball out of the park. That's how they score runs. But sometimes you got to be able to play that small ball. You have to have the appropriate mix. Because
you do.
when you become too reliant on the home run, like a criticism I've heard, and I've brought them up again, is the Yankees, just because, they get talked about, like of course, like them and the Cowboys and all that. We're not going to that. They get talked about all the time, so you hear about them. One of the things about the Yankees is, well, they don't know how to actually do anything besides hit home runs. But in the playoffs, that works, and it worked for the Guardians today because Rocchio gives you a solo shot. You had 2 hits. You had like 3 balls go to the outfield all day. He cranks one into the seats, and what's it do? Hitting's genuinely contagious because then here comes, Kwan, double. Schneemann had already pinch hit in that game. First at bat, horrible. Looked like a left-handed John Kenzie. Swung at 3 pitches out of the strike zone. Double. Then, you get a couple more guys on. Bo cranks a 3-run shot, which, by the way, that was a hell of an impressive home run for his first ever career postseason home run. Guy hit that thing one-handed. I don't know how he hit that ball out.
He literally waved at it. Like, it was low in the zone, and he just kind of flung his bat at it, and it went. Yeah.
I mean, that is impressive stuff by
corner
Bo
bar.
Naylor. For a guy that I have ripped on this podcast, I have previously said I wanted non-tenured, all this and that. For one day, let me be complimentary of you, Bo Naylor. That might have been like the most impressed I ever was with one of your swings. I mean, one-handed 3-run home run. And really, it really opened things up. And little did we know we needed to, because Cade was out of gas, I think, at that point.
Yeah, Cade, I mean, he had, what was it, a 30 pitch appearance, I want to say.
And
he's clearly not a closer, man. I mean, I loved him when he was coming in the 6th, 7th inning, mowing people down, setting it up for Gaddis and then Clase. But man, he's obviously just not a closer in this league. I thought he would end up filling that role. I shouldn't say seamlessly, but I thought he would be fine in that role, and he just hasn't been. He's been pretty stressful to watch.
Well, he was really, really bad in August. September, he was actually better. He did win AL Reliever of the Month. But yes, overall, I agree with you. They clearly missed the Clase piece, because then they can go to Cade. And then, now the whole bullpen's reset from last year's bullpen, because remember last year, as soon as they got into trouble, who filled that role? That was the Cade Smith or Eric Sombrowski role. Well, Eric Sombrowski's still doing it, and by the way, very well for the first 2 games. Now Gaddis has got to step up in that role, and you're kind of missing that piece that was Gaddis last year to get you to Cade, because everybody's had to step up, and you're down a piece, and it's got to be going to have to be different guys that fill in there. Today it was Junis, and he did it very well.
He did it. He absolutely did. He did very well, and so did Tim Herron. I thought that was so awesome when Herron came in, struck out that last batter, and was going. You don't see Tim Herron really get too emotional or start yelling or anything like that, but he was, you could tell, pumped that he got, I forget who the batter was at the time, but he got him to chase that high heat.
Well, and Voters said this today. Voters said this in his post-game press conference. It's true. Tim Herron in the first half of the year was pretty horrible. Tim Herron's got filthy stuff. Tim Herron needs to trust his stuff more and throw strikes. And that's why they sent him back down 71 to Columbus. And he's come back, and I think he's looked a lot different in a positive way. Vogt said this today, and this might be, this is a little bit exaggeratory, but I get the point. He's exaggerating for emphasis. The media asked him what's gotten into Tim Herron in the second half of the year. He looks like Tim Herron from last year. And Vogt goes, with Timmy, it's real simple. Throw strikes. Trust your stuff. When you do, Tim, you're the best left-handed reliever in baseball. I'm not saying all of that, but I get the point he's making. Tim Herron is damn good when the kid trusts his stuff and throws strikes, and he didn't do that in the first half. Guy was all over the place, all over the map.
Well, and like I said, I wasn't able to physically watch the game today, but I was just listening to Hamilton call the game, and he had said at one point, he goes, Herron is just attacking the zone right now. So that's just speaking to what you're talking about with what Vogt was talking about.
And Vogt said that, and and Junis did well. Junis is somebody who's pitched really well, and I have been begging, pleading, asking, pounding, kicking, screaming for when there's high leverage situations. Jacob Junis had a 2.96 ERA this year, and I know he was really good in April. He was absolute horse crap in May. He was good in June, and he's pretty much been good since then. Thank God when they were having their sell-off, by the way, they didn't include Junis in that.
No, I thought they were going to. I thought he was for sure. I thought he was almost a lock.
Yeah, he's on a 1-year deal. That's somebody I can't believe that ownership didn't force them to trade for cash considerations. They didn't. Thank God they need him. He's probably, I'll probably put Sabrowski and Herron and guys that I trust ahead of him. He's probably
fourth or fifth best reliever.
Your fourth or fifth best leverage option. And by the way, in the playoffs, your fourth or fifth best reliever gets used a hell of a lot more than he does in the regular season. And my point I was making, though, I pounded, screamed, kicked, threw a tangent for it. Please replace Junis and Festa in leverage spots. Please stop putting Matt Festa in leverage. Finally, you saw it the last week of the season when they were basically playing playoffs. The thing about them is they've been playing playoffs for like a month now.
Yeah, I know they have. Yeah.
You started to see it more and more, and it looks like so far Matt Festa's worked his way out of Stephen Vogt's trust circle, and we can sing Alleluia on this podcast because my prayers and your prayers have been answered.
You think we end up seeing Festa in Game 3?
I wouldn't be surprised.
Neither would I. Cade threw a lot.
You're going to need Cade to throw again tomorrow, though, and that's the thing, because I'm sorry, I can't go to Festa if it's a high leverage situation. I actually thought, and I know that I've ridiculed him on this podcast for months, I thought, Cade, you were up 6-1. I get it. Every manager, we talked about at the top of the program tonight, every manager over-manages in the playoffs. They're all guilty of it, from Stephen Vogt to A.J. Hinch to Dave Roberts in L.A., Aaron Boone in New York, Cora in Boston. Yeah. They all do it. I thought it would have actually been a perfect spot. You're up 6-1. If Stephen Vogt wanted to use his little butt buddy so much,
Festa,
that would have been a perfect spot to use Festa and save some pitches for Cade. Now, hindsight, who the hell knows how it would have worked out? The way Matt Festa pitches, he probably would have given up a grand slam to Torkel City. It would have been a one-run game. I don't know, but I thought going into it, I'm thinking you could probably save Cade for tomorrow. But I also get it. At that point, you have a must-win game.
You want to secure the win.
You have to secure the win.
We'll worry about tomorrow when tomorrow comes.
Exactly, and I think that's where voters' mind was, and I can understand that too.
Yeah, I get that. I totally get that, because like you just said, Jerome, it's one of those, we talked about the 3-game series, how no teams come back from 1-0 before, or down 0-1, I should say, and you've got an opportunity to equal that series. It's a Game 6, Game 7 right now for the Guardians. It's basically what it ends up being.
Yeah, tomorrow's Game 7.
Yeah, it's Game 7.
It's game. Yeah, it's exactly.
Which I do think it's kind of crazy. I know, how it goes wild card, 3 games ALDS, or just the DS, 5 games ALCS, 7 games. I think it's so crazy for how long of a season baseball is that we're determining who the best team is between these two teams over a 3-game series. I think
love
it's
it.
kind of crazy.
I love the way baseball does their playoffs. I actually encourage the NBA and the NHL to follow suit. Do we really need in the NBA? And I don't really want to get into this tonight because we have so much other stuff to cover. But real quick, do we really need the NBA 8 versus 1 team to play 7 games to determine who's... No, we don't need that.
Probably not.
Run a 3 or 5 game series in the first round. I love the way baseball does it. I'm going to disagree with you again tonight. We don't do that often. We are here tonight. I'm going to disagree with you again, Kevin. I think baseball does it perfectly.
Okay, I mean, I could see that argument, honestly, more so for basketball than baseball. I just think if you're playing 162 games to determine the records of all these teams, to determine who's better, how are we deciding it over 3 games?
Well,
I mean, it's better than the 1 game
I was
wild
just
card
gonna
we
say,
had 10
baseball's
years ago. But
baseball's going to look at you and say their point of view is going to be, we just increased it to 3. They're not going to do it for years to come because look how many years that 1 game wild card was in place. That was in place from 2012, I believe, when they added that extra playoff spot all the way to 2019. So it was in place for 7 years. So they're not, well, no. Then they brought it back in 2021 and then they flipped because in 2020 they did it this way. They did it to 3 game, and then they flipped it to the 1 game in 21, and then 22 they flipped it back to this for here on out. And I like the way they do it. I hope they continue.
all right.
But, you know, what's interesting is you don't normally, last year, I recall all these series were over in 2 games except for the Mets and Brewers, and they were the only one. We'll see what happens. The Yankees were winning last I checked. The Cubs won today.
Yeah.
I mean, sorry,
the Padres did.
won
The Padres
today.
evened it up.
The Guardians won today. So you're already looking at a possibility of 2 for sures. Possibly if the Bombers or the Tito can get his Reds fired up to beat the Dodgers. That's the one I have the least faith in.
I was about to say I don't expect the Reds to get one against LA tonight.
So you could potentially have all 4 of these going to 3-game series, which is incredible. And the 4 teams that, and the 2 in each league, 4 total, who receive first-round buys are probably just ecstatic, watching all these arms throw pitches and saying, burned out when they get to us over the weekend.
100%. 100%.
So,
and how do you feel about the, I guess, the playoffs? Do you have any prediction right now on the World Series?
yeah, you know what? I know they stink in the playoffs every year. They literally are in so many ways the guardians of the NL. For some odd reason, I think the Brewers might finally get to the World Series this year. I mean, neither spend a lot on payroll. They both are led by pitching and barely ever have bats. And I don't know why. For some reason, I think the Brewers might finally do it. AL, I have no idea. I think the American League is wide open right now. I watched a little bit of the Yankees-Red Sox last night. 2 damn good teams, but none wow me. I watched us and the Tigers. I mean, neither team can hit. I don't know. I don't know, man. That's a damn good Mariners team. I think they might get there. We'll see, though.
Yeah, I think I've got it's hard to pick, honestly, in the NL. It's hard to pick anybody else but the Dodgers for me. I mean, we were talking about this last night when we were watching the games, just about if the Guardians were to somehow face the Dodgers in the World Series. I don't even know if the Guardians would be able to pull a game off just with how stacked that team is. So I've got the Dodgers coming out of the NL, and I think I am going to go with the Mariners in the AL. The only thing that worries me is if Raleigh for some reason is slumping. You know, that's a lot of their offense that they're going to be missing if for some reason he enters a slump. But with the star power that they have there, the pitching, I do like the Mariners.
Well, there was a certain somebody over there, Kevin, who used to be with us, who did have another hell of a season, and he's going to hit right behind Cal probably, and you know who I'm talking about, and that's a big piece of their offense too. So, one Josh Naylor.
Oh, of course, yeah. Josh, who all of a sudden is a stolen base machine.
I know.
Yeah, and a great defender as well. So yeah, the Mariners. I'm gonna go Mariners, Dodgers, and Dodgers win that series in 6.
One last thing I want to say here about this Guardians playoff series. That's who we would play, by the way, if we do win this game tomorrow. And we do need to make predictions for this game.
Yeah, we do.
Folks, we don't know what time it's going to be yet.
Yeah, it sounds like it's going to either be at 108 or 308. I think the evening game is completely taken off the table right now.
Yeah, we don't know, but I will say this. This is classic Hosey. So there was a Guardian staffer in the clubhouse, and I want to say this came from Anthony Castrovins from MLB.com, and I saw the quote. And a Guardian staffer told Jose Ramirez, he said, by the way, we probably won't know what time you guys play tomorrow till we go to bed tonight. So, like, as soon as we find out from the league, we'll text all the players. Jose Ramirez on his way out of the clubhouse door said, I'm ready to play anytime. He goes, you tell me a time, I'll be here. Classic Jose.
Yeah, that's classic Josie.
I want to say one last thing about this series, and I noticed it today, and the national broadcast brought it up, and I can't blame any team for what they're doing. We all want Jose Ramirez to have a big signature-like moment, in the postseason. And
Rocchio's had more signature moments in his career than Jose probably has.
I would beg to differ. Jose was pretty
man.
damn good in that 2016 World Series. Like, you have to remember, Jose was playing in the postseason. Some of these kids were probably in middle school, man.
Oh, no, I understand.
that he's playing with now.
I understand.
We all want Jose to have like another signature moment in the postseason, and we're all rooting for it. AJ Hinch had said to the national broadcast today, hey, I said to my guys, if any other guys beat us, that's fine. We're not letting Ramirez beat us this series.
Which you could tell.
I don't blame any manager, and it's only going to get worse as the postseason goes along. So I'm looking at you, Kyle Manzardo. I know it's a tough spot for you. You're a young kid, but you're the one I have the most faith in to do it. You've got to step up, because if not, once we get to the divisional round, Seattle's just going to be holding up four fingers every time. He's never going to see a pitch. Like, he walked 3 times today. One was actually an intentional walk, but the other 2 you could see the guys gave him nothing.
They were just pitching around him, yeah.
And I don't blame teams for doing that, but until these other guys show up more consistently, he's not going to see anything.
Yeah, which is obviously unfortunate and an absolute result of how we handled the trade deadline and the offseason.
Yeah.
A direct result.
I mean, Jose's playing out here with kids, again, and like you talk about, like they were talking about Quan, who nationally is still viewed as a good player. In our clubhouse, he is a absolute veteran leader. Tanner Bybee today, good for him. This is only his, he came up halfway through 23. This is his second full year. He's over there talking to Chase DeLauder like a 10-year vet. I don't know. I give Vogt credit, Austin Hedges credit. These guys all lead each other, and it's amazing how quick they turn some of these young kids into leaders. Now we need them to do it on the field so Jose could see some stuff to hit.
Oh, no, absolutely. Absolutely, which I'm excited for that game tomorrow to see if they can actually, take this momentum that they've carried not only over the last month, but over just today in general. And we were texting earlier. For some reason, just a weird feeling for me. I was wondering, I shouldn't say wondering, but I was thinking to myself, if tomorrow's a night game, for some reason I don't feel confident. But if it's during the day, I think I am confident. I don't really know why. I think it's just that under the lights atmosphere with the young players out there. Not sure how they would handle it. So with the evening slate being completely taken off the table, really, for Game 3, I'm feeling pretty confident about Slade Ciccone going into Game 3, and I think they're going to do it. I think they're going to punch their ticket to the ALDS, and then I guess we'll wait to see who awaits. Or actually, it'll be the Mariners.
We know it's the Mariners.
It would be the Mariners, yeah. So how are you feeling going into Game 3, buddy?
So here's my thing. I feel good going into Game 3, but I want to say it was my dad. I think it was my dad. Told me years ago, baseball, your momentum is only good as your next day's starting pitcher. I think it's very interesting. As much as they've burned the bullpen, they left themselves a caveat. If Slade sucks tomorrow, see you later. Joey Cantillo hasn't thrown a pitch yet this series.
Yeah.
And I know he just pitched Saturday. Tomorrow's Thursday, though. That'd be his regular 5 days rest.
Sure.
That's very interesting to me. I think if I don't know how to feel about Slade. I think it's going one of two ways with him. He's going to be phenomenal. He's going to really suck.
That's how I feel too. I don't think we're going to see 2 earned over 5.
No.
I think it's going to be 3 earned through 2, or 1 through 6.
Yeah. And if he, to me, and I know we saw Vogt do this last year with Bybee in New York in the ALDS, if he shows the first sign of cracking, bam, I have Joey up and ready to go.
Yeah, you're gonna have to at this point.
Yep. And
I mean, backs completely. I mean, their backs have been up against the wall like we've talked about for the last month and a half. But I mean, this is as up against the wall as you can possibly get.
So Logan Allen's not on this roster, neither is Messick. So on this wild card roster, then of course, if they get there, they can reset it before the division series. I think what will probably happen is, if they do get through, you're going to take one less position player off and probably put another pitcher on it because it's a longer series.
Makes sense.
But I think guys that you're guaranteed to see tomorrow, I think you're going to guarantee to see Cantillo. Even if Slade pitches well, I think Joey's, because Gaddis has pitched a lot both games. Sombrowski's pitched a lot both games. Heron probably would be good to go tomorrow. And I think you're going to pitch Cade and Gaddis either way. I just don't know how much they have left in their tank. And I saw from well-known Tigers fan today, speaking of that, Chris Castellani tweeted, does the Guardians bullpen ever get tired? He goes, Hunter Gaddis and Cade Smith have pitched all 8 games against us in the last 2 weeks. He goes, do these guys ever tire?
Yeah, right.
And, well, I hope obviously Chris is hoping differently. Can you give us one more? Can you give us a 9th straight against the Tigers? Because we're going to need you, fellas.
We're going to need you.
And go Guards. Go get it done.
Let's go,
baby.
Go
to this ALDS.
Go Tribe. Let's keep this October going, baby. Come on. I love this. I love this. Playoff baseball.
Keep it going. You know, guys today, come on, Bo Naylor, Daniel Schneemann, just different guy. And you got to keep it going. And one last thing. Thank God Kwon got a hit because I was starting to panic. I mean,
I honestly wasn't.
2 for his last 30, and he's popping up pitches. And even Todd Frazier pointed on the broadcast, this is not the Stephen Kwan we know. Like, something's wrong here.
Yeah, and I wasn't really panicking about him at all, really, because I feel like he's still putting together good at-bats. The ball is just not finding really open field.
I thought his at-bats were starting to look crappy. He was popping up a lot.
I mean, he was starting to press a little bit, for sure. I mean, it wasn't like a full-on press, though, where he's swinging at everything, just trying to get any piece of momentum going.
Yeah.
But yeah, I still thought he was put together okay to decent at-bats, but yeah, it was nice to see him finally get on base as a result of a hit, and obviously he got Schneemann scored him too, so that was nice.
Great. All right, go Guards, go get it done.
Go Try, baby.
Come on now, we're rooting for you. The whole city's behind you. People nationally are noticing how loud this place is, and what's insane.
I feel like we do this whole song and dance every postseason when the Tribe burn, and we hear everybody go, "Oh, Cleveland, what a playoff atmosphere! I never knew." How do you not know? I mean, it's tweeted out there. It's posted every October. The place going nuts. I don't get it.
Well, I think what's amazing these 2 games is how loud it's been, and they haven't even been sellouts.
Yeah, I mean, it's 1 p.m. on a Tuesday and on a Wednesday. It's a working class city here, Jerome.
I'm not criticizing the fans for not selling. I'm actually complimenting the fans because the green seats aren't making noise, man. So the fans deserve some damn credit. All right.
We have great baseball fans when it gets to October, man. We really do.
Well, yeah, they don't give a rat's ass from April until August, and they all come around in September and act like they're experts on the team. It is.
Which, dude, how reminiscent, speaking of just like the Cleveland crowd in general, when Rocchio hit that home run on Sunday, how reminiscent was that of the Lindor Grand Slam against the Yankees in 2017?
I brought that up as soon as it looked very the parallels were there.
It had to have been within a foot of the foul pole, like of where Lindor's hit. It was that high off the foul pole.
Yeah, absolutely.
Pretty cool.
So, all right, Guards, go get it done.
Go get it done,
Motor
baby.
City Kitties tomorrow. And one last thing of good news: Tarek Skubal's not on the mound tomorrow. Yay!
Let's go.
All right. So, all right, now let's talk about the Browns. And they also played Detroit. It was ugly, 34-10. Defense played amazing again. Offense put them in shitty positions all day. You gave up a special teams touchdown. You're playing an elite football team. You got what you got.
It was Groundhog Day.
Yep.
It was basically like how we faced the Ravens in
You
week 2.
have a number 1 defense and you have an XFL offense. That's the way it goes. Kevin Stefanski, in his mind, has seen enough of the XFL offense. He could sit there at the podium all he wants and says it's not on one guy, it's not on this, it's not on that. Clearly, he thinks it's enough on Joe Flacco to make a quarterback change, and that is what he officially announced today. Dylan Gabriel is going to see the Minnesota Vikings and Big Ben, the famous clock, as he heads to London and leads the Browns. And Dylan Gabriel's also never been outside the country, and that'll be where his first start is.
Yeah, well, I hope he has his passport.
Yeah, me too.
No, but I'm actually I was kind of teetering after this game against Detroit. I was kind of 50-50 on whether or not I wanted to see them make this move or whether I wanted them to roll with Flacco for another couple weeks. I'm just glad that this Gabriel start's not coming in Pittsburgh. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I'm glad that it's going to be relatively in a neutral setting. I mean, actually, very much a neutral setting for him against a very average opponent. I'm kind of excited to see him. I know we do this every year with every new quarterback that we put out there. The 2 to 3 quarterbacks we put out there every year that we've never seen in a Browns uniform. This one I'm pretty excited for, though, because I think there's been a lot of plays, there's been a lot of opportunities for this offense that haven't been capitalized on, and we can blame that on the offensive line, we can blame that on the receivers, we can blame that on the quarterback play, and a lot of that does fall on Joe's shoulders. So I am excited to see if Gabriel, if he's going to be able to move out of the pocket better. I mean, he can't really move out of it any worse than what Flacco's been doing over these last 4 weeks. So excited to see how that play-action game, how the rollouts are going to work here. And hopefully he trusts his decision-making, and hopefully Stefanski trusts his decision-making too. I'm excited to see Gabriel in London.
Yeah, we both sat here about a month ago and said, maybe longer now, we thought Joe would get, I think, what we say, 6 to 8 games?
6 games, I think we both agreed upon.
It didn't last that long. And for those of us who watched it, every second of every down of every snap of every play, like Kevin and I have, it was becoming an unwatchable offense. And Joe led a great first drive against Detroit. You're like, okay, maybe he's turning the corner. Yep. Here you go. And the second drive, there was nobody within 20 yards of the ball, Browns-wise, and he chucked it up, and the deep safety came over and caught an interception like a fair punt. And at that moment, you had to look and say, I think he's cooked.
Yep.
And I don't have any other way to put it.
That was kind of the moment I had, too. I was like, what the hell was that?
And then he did make a great throw to Jerry Jeudy, and Jeudy did not catch it. I don't appreciate that he didn't catch that ball. What I do appreciate is a lot of athletes nowadays try to pin it on other people. Good job by Jerry Jeudy, basically blaming the entire game on himself, even though that's not really the case. But he explained a whole theory as to if he caught that ball, why the Browns would ultimately go on to win, essentially, and how he put the whole game on him.
Fannin had a pretty big drop, too, actually.
I give you that. I appreciate that for doing that. Thank you, Jerry. But, you know, also I think Jerry was getting frustrated because many times Jerry Jeudy was running wide open the last couple of weeks, and Joe didn't see it.
Yeah, no, it's been very frustrating to watch, and I do get, you know, Jerry. The one thing that I've been saying over these last couple episodes is that it frustrates me, the body language from Jerry Jeudy, the way that he just kind of deflects these post-game answers. You know, after the Bengals game, he had said, you know, well, what are the odds of that happening? You know, about him flipping up the ball and it being picked off. And the odds are pretty low, Jerry, but it happened twice that game. So instead of just saying, hey, you know, I got to catch that ball, he's going, oh, well, what are the odds? We'll fix that. And then it hasn't been fixed. We're now 4 weeks, coming up on 4 weeks later, and the drops are still there. The drops were there while he was in Denver. We knew that when we traded for him. We're still seeing it here. Big-time moments that he's not capitalizing on. And that's been frustrating to watch as well. Like I said, this is something, this entire offense, a lot of it does go to the quarterback play, but the offensive line hasn't been there. The receivers haven't been there. And this is my hesitation about the Gabriel move, is that I don't know. Actually, I do know. We are not putting him in the best situation for success. So, I'm praying to God that he can overcome it and actually look competent out there. But I mean, this is a tough spot to put an undersized quarterback and down. Your record's 1-3, and you don't have any weapons, and you don't have a great offensive line.
Well, and you lost one of your weapons too. Cedric Tillman went to IR.
Right, and I mean they have to rely on this run game so much in London, so much, and
I
yeah.
wonder what. Now we saw Flacco at a short leash.
Yeah.
How short is Dylan Gabriel's leash until they turn it over again to my guy?
I think they would turn it back to Joe before they turn it to him.
Really?
Right now, I do. Right now, I do. Do you want to get on this Shador? The Shador talk?
Not particularly, but I know you want to talk about it.
No, I do want to bring this up because, there was an interview. I shouldn't say an interview, but Rex Ryan was on whatever show he's on. Get Up. And he had said, I keep
he
hearing.
ripped Shador Sanders a new asshole. I'll put it that way.
He absolutely ripped Shador. Basically said, this is a guy that comes in with his arms crossed saying, I'm a franchise quarterback, I'm a starting guy, and all we hear is talk, but we're not seeing you on the field. And Rex Ryan basically said, if I know what's going on, then the whole league knows what's going on with you. Keep your mouth shut and go to work, was the gist of what he was saying. And then, of course, Gabriel gets named the starter, about basically 24 hours after this. And the reporters go in, they're interviewing Shador in the locker room, and he decides to mouth his answers as opposed to actually saying them. He's just miming to these reporters. Dude, you were a third-string quarterback, fifth-round pick for a 1-3 football team. Who the hell do you think you are, and why? Of course, this is why you dropped in the draft. Everybody knew this. Everybody saw the wrists up as he's going into the opposing team's end zone against an unranked opponent, flashing off his jewelry, talking about his dad in the pre-combine, talking about his stats, talking about going into these interviews as if they were recruiting visits as opposed to job interviews. Everybody and their mother could have told you how this was going to pan out, and he's being a jackass once again. I'm sick of the Shador Sanders experiment, and I've been sick of it since late April, since we drafted this jackass.
Yeah, I think completely different than you on the whole thing. But, yeah, today was the first time I didn't really appreciate what he did. I have to say I was a little bit annoyed by it. But, you know what? I still think if Shador Sanders comes out and gets a chance to play and plays great, we'll never forget, we'll forget about it and say, who the hell cares? That's the way I look at it.
Yeah, sure. I do not envision that scenario happening. I just don't. And, I'm sure at some point we're going to see Shador Sanders this year. I have no doubt in my mind that we'll see him either come in the second half, or maybe he even starts a couple games towards the end of the year when the Browns are inevitably completely out of this whole thing. I think we'll end up seeing Shador Sanders start a game or two towards the end of the year. But, yeah, this goes back. What he did by miming those answers, it just proves the immaturity concerns that everybody in the NFL had before the draft, and that what led to his fall to the fifth round.
I don't know if I agree about all that, but that's your opinion. And you're entitled to it. I'm entitled to disagree with it.
Sure.
Unfortunately, it's not fair to Dylan Gabriel, but every time he throws an incompletion on Sunday, they're going to shoot Shador on the sidelines, like the TV cameras.
Probably, which, again, like you just said, is just so unfair, this position that Gabriel's in right now. It really is.
Yeah, I think this Cedric Tillman injury sucks. That's actually, I think the Browns don't have many talented receivers. He's a semi-talented one, and that's tough.
Yeah, it's definitely a tough loss, especially for a receiving core that doesn't have a lot of depth to begin with. We should see a lot of Isaiah Bond on Sunday,
who, by the way, played a damn good game against.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
Baltimore.
he absolutely did.
Browns injuries are starting to amount too, though, which is not good because they don't. We talked about this before the season. They don't have a lot of depth, and their depth is not good.
Right.
So when guys get hurt, it's going to show.
Yeah, and you're down a couple tackles. You're down a receiver now.
I know you like that trade for Cam Robinson.
Yeah, I do like the trade for Cam Robinson because he's known for being a better pass protector than he is a run blocker. and we need a pass protector right now because Flacco didn't have any time. And that was a move I felt like Andrew Berry went out and said, okay, we're going to try to at least give our third-round rookie a semi-shot on Sunday.
Because we watched Cornelius Lucas and KT Livingston, I like to call him KT Turnstile,
Sure.
just get dominated. And Cornelius Lucas ain't a bad swing tackle, but he ain't meant to be out there every down either. And that's where you can't blame Joe on all of it. He didn't have a lot of time, and it makes it really – it doubles down on it when he can't move. And that was the problem. So I appreciate this move they're making, hopefully, because the interior of the line's playing good. Joel, Ethan, and Wyatt are playing good.
Which has been the tail of the tape the last few years. Those guys have been the mainstays on this offensive line. Due to injuries, typically, is the reason they're the three mainstays. But the thing that is frustrating about the Cam Robinson thing is I don't know how much practice he's really going to have under his belt in this system to actually give it a go on Sunday and be able to start.
I doubt Sunday.
I doubt it. But hopefully in the near future he cements himself as a starter on this team and plays relatively well to give some of our guys a shot.
Absolutely. Another thing is a lot of people I hear complaining about David Njoku. I want to bring this up. He's lost a step. He's not running route. Guys, he's not even running routes. Watch the film. I promise you. The O-line tackles suck so bad. Njoku's an exceptional blocker, which we've highlighted on this podcast many times.
We have.
He has to stay in and block because they suck so bad at tackle. Maybe with Cam Robinson's in there, David Njoku can, I don't know, run a route a few more times.
Yeah, hopefully. I'd like to see Njoku get more involved, not only for the Browns' sake, but I've got some stock in him in fantasy too, and he's been disappointing me a little bit.
Well, you don't get points for blocking in fantasy.
No, you don't. You should though.
Absolutely. All right, let's cover odds and ends and
make
our game picks. Let's make a pick on the Browns. The last line I saw, Kevin, they were 3.5-point dogs at London. Do you like them to cover? Like them to win? What are you thinking? Cover and win?
I like them to cover and lose, actually. I think they're going to lose by a field goal.
Okay. I like the Browns to cover and outright win.
Oh, let's go.
In London. Folks, don't forget Carson Wentz stinks. If the Steelers can dominate him, so can the Browns, the number one defense in the league. They'll get after his ass all day. He'll turn the thing over a few times. And Dylan, if you can give us like 15 points, 16 points, we will cover as 3.5-point dogs and win in London. Go Browns.
Go Browns. I love that prediction.
All right. Let's cover odds and ends. Tyreek Hill, pretty disgusting knee injury.
Oh.
Pretty gross to watch.
It was.
Am I a bad person for saying I didn't feel that bad because of how bad of a human being he is?
It's probably not the best thing to be saying, but I don't think it's I guess it's not the worst thing to say. I mean, the guy, he's not a great guy. But, I mean, it looked like a gruesome leg injury,
obviously
man.
You don't want to see anybody get hurt, but then you know the kind of person he is. You read stuff of what he's done to women, and you're like, I don't want to say you deserve it. I would never say that, but, like, I'm not feeling as bad for you as I
would for somebody else, basically.
Like when an outstanding man like Nick Chubb, a good, wholesome man like Nick Chubb gets hurt.
Yeah, that one was brutal as well. Yeah, I guess it's not the worst thing to say. I guess there's better people that it could have happened to, I guess, for lack of a better saying, I guess. But I mean, another star receiver, Malik Neighbors.
That one I feel terrible about.
That one I feel bad for
because
too.
Jackson Dart just gets started. He needs his number one guy. And now,
that's a great point.
How are you going to evaluate Jackson Dart when his number one receiver turns from Malik Neighbors, top 5, to
Wan'Dale Robinson
or Darius Slayton? No disrespect to either of those guys. They're both good. They ain't no Malik Neighbors.
They're not Malik Neighbors, though, yeah. No, so that sucked to see. But 2-star receivers going out, and most likely, I don't think they've been officially ruled out for the year, but they're going to be ruled out for the year.
Lamar Jackson done 2 to 3 weeks. It looks like it is Cooper Rush time in Baltimore.
Which, hey, wasn't Shadur Sanders the one that didn't want to go to Baltimore so that he didn't have to back up Lamar? He would have had his opportunity this week. This is why you just let destiny fulfill itself.
Number 12 is living rent-free in your head over there, son.
He's not living rent-free in my head. I'm just saying, if you weren't a jackass, you'd be playing this week.
Enough criticizing my guy. Next! We're moving on here, please. Let's move on to baseball series.
Yeah.
We already pointed this out earlier. Padres come back, tie the Cubs today. Kevin, what's the score of the Yankee game? I haven't checked.
I have not checked either. That I'm actually not 100% sure on. Let me pull that up really quick here, Jerome. It is 3-3. The Red Sox tied it up, middle of the sixth.
Let's go Red Sox. Be great to see
Let's
the
go
pinstripes
Sox. Yeah,
out
it would be
before the
nice.
Guardians. And then obviously tonight we have Tito and his young Buck Reds taking on Shohei and the Dodgers. I think we all kind of know how that one's going to go.
Yeah, I'm feeling a Dodgers sweep. We could be wrong. Maybe we wake up tomorrow and that's not the case, but I don't have a great feeling about the Reds pulling that one out.
No, the Reds, God bless them. God bless Tito for getting them there. The guys, they won 83 games. It's pretty bad for a playoff team.
Yeah, I mean, it's barely above 500.
Yeah.
Only 2 games above 500 in a 162-game season.
All right, and as we do now in Odds and Ends, as we start a new segment here, we promise our game picks of the week where we try to get you guys our opinions, and if you listen to us and we're right, maybe make you a little bit of money there. On
Yeah,
the
maybe.
How about it? A little wager here. So our first game pick of the week is we are going to look at 4 different college games to finish out this program and this episode this week. Let's start with number 16 Vanderbilt heading into Bryant-Denny Stadium to play number 10 Alabama. Alabama laying 10.5 at home. Kevin.
I like Alabama to win and cover.
Vanderbilt's quarterback's really good. Diego, I cannot remember his last name, but he really impressed me last year. They did beat Alabama. I don't know if that was last year or 2 years ago. Alabama's going to get revenge because they remember that miserable day in Nashville, Tennessee. I like Alabama to win outright and cover.
And cover as well.
Yep. All right. Big one.
Yes. Probably the biggest game of the week, probably.
Big rivalry game.
Yep.
Where you have the Florida State Seminoles and the U matching up in Tallahassee, and FSU is 4.5-point favorites. Or no, Miami.
No, they're dogs.
Yeah, sorry. You're right. Thank you. FSU, 4.5-point home dogs. The U looks really good this year, Kevin. They're the 3rd-ranked team. Is the U back? That's what everybody keeps asking. What say you?
Give me the Seminoles outright.
Wow, the Seminoles to cover plus 4.5 home dogs and to win the game outright.
To win outright.
Wow. I cannot disagree further. Give me the Canes.
Canes to cover?
Yeah, Canes to cover. And, go in and disappoint all the Tallahassee faithful. All right, and then we'll pick both of our own teams.
Yep.
Kevin.
We got Boise State coming into number 21, Notre Dame. Notre Dame's 20.5-point favorites. I like Notre Dame to win, but I like Boise State to cover
You'll
cover
take
that
Boise
line.
State plus the 20.5.
That's
All
right, and Notre Dame to win.
Okay. And then the number 1 team in the nation, the Ohio State Buckeyes.
World famous, as Gus Johnson would say.
Yes, that's right. And they were coming in. The Golden Gophers coming in. Buckeyes laying 23.5 at home. What say you, Kevin?
I like Ohio State to cover. I like them to win by 3.5 touchdowns or more.
I completely agree. Julian saying awfully impressive in his first road game last week, and I think we could see more of the same.
Yeah.
He's getting a comfortability and a familiarity with the greatest receiver in the country, and that only means more happiness for me on my Saturday afternoons. All right. That'll do it. We had a loaded program.
Yeah, very
tonight.
loaded, very Guardian heavy, and it should have been. It should have been.
Should. They
it should have
deserved
been.
it today after that 8th inning.
Absolutely.
And when you got a team in the postseason, and this is a very busy time for us here on the podcast. You know, we do one show a week, and you got October where all 4 sports go on at the same time eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, eventually they do. And we're going to start getting into heavy Cavs talk here in the next few weeks, I imagine. I know we've kind of haven't talked about them too extensively in the last really 2 months or so, I would say. We haven't really focused in on any Cavs talk. We've mentioned them here and there about some random things that they've had going on, random signings they've had or transactions. But with the season just looming about 3.5 weeks away, I want to say, we're going to start talking Cavs a little bit more here.
That's absolutely right. All right, if you liked anything we had to say tonight or disagree with it, you make sure you comment. You could do that on YouTube or Spotify or Apple Podcasts, any of the platform where our comments sections are open. You could DM us on any of the social medias, Instagram or Twitter.
Or TikTok.
You could do that as well.
You
What
could.
the hell? Why not?
Yeah.
And that is at
CLE Sports Realm.
That's right. We want to thank Derek for his hard work behind the glass. We'll talk to y'all next week. And Thanks again for listening to episode 48 of the CSR. Take it
Go
easy.
Tribe, baby.